You thought you'd heard it all. But this Diddy trial just tore off the polite gloves and is swinging wild with the kind of haymakers that knock the air out of a room. What started as Cassie's chilling account has snowballed into a tidal wave of secrets, cover-ups, and courtroom revelations that nobody, literally nobody, was ready for. This isn't your average tabloid fodder. This is federal courtrooms buzzing with audio evidence so explosive, journalists were banned from even scribbling notes. It's not just about Diddy anymore. The ripple effects have pulled in names like Will Smith, Meek Mill, and other high-profile figures whose reputations are now dangling by a thread. The internet is in a frenzy. Reddit detectives are combing through every clip, every old interview, every grainy photo. TikToks are clocking millions of views dissecting red carpet body language from a decade ago. Why? Because one court recording, just one, allegedly includes audio so graphic and specific that it stopped the entire room cold. Phones off, cameras banned, just pure, deafening silence as the tape rolled. And here's where it gets darker. These tapes reportedly don't just incriminate, they implicate. What started as allegations of abuse and control now hint at a deeper, possibly decades-old network of silence and complicity among Hollywood elites. People are asking, who knew, what, and for how long? And why hasn't any of it leaked yet? No grainy clip, no transcript, not even a sketchy courtroom drawing. It's 2025. We've seen court docs from sealed trials and heard leaked audio from government hearings. But this? Nothing. And that silence? It's louder than any confession. Could the content be too damning to release? Or is there someone, or something, pulling the strings behind the scenes to keep this locked up tight? This video isn't here to throw baseless accusations. It's here to unpack the weight of what's already been revealed and hint at what's yet to surface. Because if even half of what's being whispered is true, we're looking at one of the biggest media firestorms of our time. Stay locked in, because what happens next could change everything. Cassie's voice was the first match that lit this blaze, and what she described wasn't just disturbing, it was a window into a world few believed could exist behind the velvet ropes of fame. Her civil lawsuit laid it all bare. Years of alleged abuse, psychological control, and something she chillingly referred to as freak-offs, a term that instantly became the stuff of internet nightmares. She claimed Diddy used control like a weapon, from dictating what she wore to allegedly forcing her into degrading sexual scenarios. Cassie painted a picture of a man who didn't just crave dominance, he demanded submission at every level. Her daily reality, according to court filings, was one of surveillance, fear, and extreme manipulation. It was disturbing, surreal, and for many, initially too dark to fully believe, until others began to speak. Court documents revealed that Cassie had receipts, texts, timestamps, communications with insiders. But the moment things shifted from shocking to seismic was when corroborating witnesses began stepping forward. Names we hadn't heard in years, former bad boy artists, longtime staff, security personnel, suddenly emerging with their own versions of the same nightmare. One of the most gut-wrenching claims? A 2009 incident in a Los Angeles home where Diddy allegedly beat Cassie for something as minor as not having his food ready. The very next day, he reportedly entered a room with other female artists and issued a chilling warning. What y'all saw up there? That was passion. Don't say anything. Passion. That word, in this context, has become a haunting echo throughout this case. Then there was Dawn Richard, a fan favorite from Danity Kane, someone who knew the inner workings of Diddy's empire. Her testimony hit like a thunderclap. She described witnessing abuse firsthand, confirming Cassie's claims and adding her own. She said Diddy threatened her directly. Her exit from court, captured in viral photos, face pale, visibly shaken. It wasn't just testimony. It was the unfiltered aftermath of reliving trauma in front of the world. And that's the part that sticks. Because as these women finally speak, it's no longer about headlines or careers. It's about freedom. It's about survival. It's about a truth too long buried under diamonds and dollars. Cassie cracked the surface. But what's coming next might obliterate everything built on that foundation. If there's one thing that turned this case from serious to absolutely seismic, it's the alleged audio. Not leaks, not rumors. Actual recordings reportedly played in open court. Recordings that insiders say left the entire room frozen in place. It all started with that now infamous hotel lobby video. No sound, just grainy surveillance footage of what appeared to be a confrontation. At the time, most assumed that was the big reveal. But what came next blindsided everyone. According to courtroom insiders, what was played behind closed doors went far beyond surveillance. It was raw, explicit, and deeply unsettling. Phones were banned. Media were locked out. No transcripts, just absolute, weighted silence, followed by a room full of stunned faces. One source described the audio as featuring graphic male-on-male acts. And what's worse, Diddy was allegedly present, not just referenced, audibly heard, alongside names like Will Smith and Meek Mill. The reaction wasn't outrage, it was horror, a kind of breathless disbelief that something this graphic could be played in court. One person who was inside claimed the audio didn't merely suggest, it exposed. You could hear Diddy's voice. You could hear him laughing. You could hear acts that one insider described as career-ending if proven. Even Diddy's daughter, who had maintained a quiet composure throughout the trial, reportedly walked out of that courtroom visibly shaken. Her face blank. Her steps slow. Even the paparazzi didn't dare yell a question. That's how intense the energy was. And then, right after the playback, a list of new witnesses was announced. Not anonymous names, but people who had been part of Diddy's orbit for years. Ex-artists, bodyguards, personal assistants, individuals who allegedly saw things firsthand and for the first time felt protected enough to speak. Many were brought in under sealed motions. Some testified anonymously. And what they shared only deepened the dread. The term freak-off wasn't just a rumor. It was reportedly part of a pattern. Controlled environments, no phones, signed NDAs, explicit activities documented in ways that now sit at the center of federal evidence. And this courtroom? It's no longer just a legal venue. It's the center stage for a cultural reckoning, inching closer every day toward a truth that could ripple through the highest echelons of celebrity power. And if what's rumored about the next set of recordings is even remotely accurate, the fallout hasn't even begun. The shockwaves from that courtroom audio didn't stop with Diddy. When Will Smith and Meek Mill's names were reportedly heard in the recordings, it detonated a cultural bomb that sent the internet into absolute chaos, and no one has been able to look away since. Will Smith, the Hollywood golden boy, the Fresh Prince, the guy we all watched grow up on screen, was suddenly trending again. But this time, not for a movie or a slap. This time it was because of whispers that his voice appeared on explicit recordings linked to Diddy's alleged freak-off sessions. And when that name dropped in the courtroom, you could almost hear the collective gasp online. The internet moved fast. Old interviews, red carpet photos, podcast sound bites. Suddenly everything involving Will and Diddy was being reanalyzed under a forensic spotlight. A now viral clip of comedian Lionel casually joking that Diddy and Will were clapping cheeks went from obscure to omnipresent overnight. Most people had laughed it off before. Now, nobody was laughing. The scrutiny turned eerie when fans started rewatching old clips of Will with his son, Jaden. Once seen as quirky and affectionate, those moments were now being viewed with unease. Comment sections were filled with speculation, and the tone had shifted from curious to deeply uncomfortable. And then came brother Bilal, Will's former assistant, who added gasoline to the fire with his own allegations. He claimed to have personally witnessed acts that allegedly involved Will and another man in a compromising position. His description, graphic, his delivery, calm and exact. It didn't sound like gossip. It sounded like testimony. Will tried to shut it down. He issued a blunt denial. "I ain't nowhere near that man. I did none of that stupid." But it backfired spectacularly. Twitter exploded with receipts, photos, videos, and interviews showing Will and Diddy at events together, looking far from strangers. The more he denied, the more the internet pushed back. Then there was Meek Mill. When his name surfaced, he didn't stay quiet. He spiraled. A storm of defensive tweets hit his feed. "Y'all trying to ruin me," he posted. "Stop playing with me." But the internet wasn't buying it. Old clips of Meek at parties with Diddy resurfaced, including one infamous birthday video where Diddy called him Daddy. That clip alone became a meme factory. For Will and Meek, the fallout wasn't legal, at least not yet. But in the court of public opinion, they're losing, fast. If there's one thing the internet does better than anyone, it's investigate. The moment those courtroom revelations hit the timelines, social media became ground zero for one of the most intense digital sleuth hunts in recent memory. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok creators pulled in millions of views dissecting every facial expression from old interviews, while YouTube deep dives popped up overnight, claiming to reveal hidden truths about Diddy's inner circle. Every grainy party clip, every offhand joke from a podcast, every photo where someone stood a little too close, all of it was getting the magnifying glass treatment. People weren't waiting for the mainstream media to catch up. They were already building timelines, cross-referencing quotes, analyzing voice patterns from other recordings. To them, this wasn't just gossip, it was a digital crime scene. The community turned into amateur investigators, searching for the smallest details that could confirm what the courts hadn't yet publicly revealed. One particular image that caught fire? A throwback photo of Diddy, Will Smith, and Meek Mill at a private mansion party. Shirtless, smiling, arms around each other. At the time, it was just another celebrity hangout. Now, it's being treated like visual evidence. People zoomed in, analyzed body language, speculated on who was looking where and why. Conspiracy? Maybe. But the passion behind the hunt? Unmatched. Then came the memes. Brutal, relentless. Diddy became the center of countless viral jokes, some hilarious, others disturbingly spot on. Meek Mill's daddy moment, meme legend status, Will Smith's old motivational talks, spliced with ironic audio to make him look like he was delivering coded confessions. No one was safe. Even unrelated celebrities got dragged into the vortex for simply being at the same party once. And that silence? The silence surrounding the actual courtroom. Audio? It only made things worse. Not a single leak. No shaky phone recording. No transcript. Nothing. Just second-hand descriptions that painted a picture darker than anyone expected. The lack of any tangible evidence created a vacuum, and the internet filled it with theories, speculation, and suspicion. In today's digital age, when something this big hits and nothing surfaces, people assume one thing: someone powerful is covering it up. Whether that's true or not doesn't even matter anymore. The perception has taken hold. The story has become bigger than the Bay trial. It's now a cultural phenomenon, and the deeper people dig, the more addicted they become to uncovering what's next. At the heart of all this chaos is a mystery so tightly wound, it's got even the most cynical observers questioning what's really going on. Because while the allegations are shocking and the rumors are running wild, the one thing nobody can seem to explain is the silence. Where are the leaks? Courtroom audio in a federal case this high profile doesn't just vanish, especially in an era where everything, every whisper, every footstep, eventually ends up online. We've seen confidential court exhibits hit Twitter within hours. We've seen entire testimony clips from sealed cases mysteriously show up on YouTube. But here, nothing. Not 1 second, not one still frame, no mysterious USB drives, no anonymous whistleblowers, just radio silence. And that's made people ask the question, who is protecting this? It's no longer just about Diddy. It's about the system, about power, about influence. Some insiders believe the silence isn't a coincidence, it's coordinated, that there are forces behind the scenes making sure that audio stays sealed, that reputations are preserved, that legal firestorms are contained before they ever ignite. Whispers are swirling around media blackouts, sealed affidavits, judges being pressured, and behind-the-scenes negotiations to suppress the most damaging material. Some have even suggested that what's on those tapes is so nuclear, releasing them could unravel careers across music, politics, and entertainment. Entire industries could be affected. Endorsement deals, partnerships, billion-dollar ventures, all hanging in the balance. Journalists are growing restless. Investigators are digging deeper. And the public? The public is obsessed because the longer the silence drags on, the more it feels like a cover-up. And when people feel they're being deliberately shut out, they don't back off. They double down. They chase harder. They dig deeper. You can feel the tension building. It's no longer a matter of whether this explodes, it's when. And here's what's really terrifying. If the rumors are true, if these tapes capture actual crimes, if these tapes prove collusion between multiple high-profile figures, then this case isn't just a scandal. It's a reckoning of elite culture. We've seen takedowns before. Hollywood has faced its share of exposés and trials, but never like this. Never with a case this vast, this connected, this calculated. This isn't the end. It might not even be the middle. We're deep inside a web that's only just beginning to unravel. And what's at the center of that web? Still hidden, still silent, still coming. As the allegations surged and the silence deepened, something strange began happening. Public opinion split like never before. On one side, you had people absolutely convinced that Diddy's empire was finally crumbling. On the other, a small but vocal group clinging to the belief that this was all just another celebrity takedown campaign. But no matter what side they stood on, everyone was watching. The streets were buzzing. Fans debated in barbershops and nail salons, on Discord servers, Twitter spaces, and Clubhouse chats. On social media, it wasn't just celebrities being questioned. It was the entire entertainment industry. People started looking differently at the artists they once idolized. Anyone seen too close to Diddy in the past 10 years? Under the microscope. Every association was suddenly suspicious. Every cosign a potential red flag. For years, fans laughed off the rumors. The jokes about freak-offs, the awkward hugs at pool parties, the cryptic interviews. But now, every meme hit harder. Every resurfaced clip felt like a clue. And suddenly, people weren't laughing anymore. They were angry. They felt duped, like they'd been cheering for icons while the ugly truth hid in plain sight. Even those who once defended Diddy were going quiet. Former collaborators went radio silent. Labels started scrubbing mentions. Streaming platforms quietly adjusted homepages. It was like watching a legacy get deleted in real time. One minute you're a cultural icon. The next, you're digital poison. Fans unfollowed. Artists distanced themselves. Brand deals dissolved in silence. Will Smith, already fragile in the public eye after the Oscars debacle, faced renewed scrutiny. People who stood by him then were re-evaluating their stance. His brand, once synonymous with clean-cut inspiration, now sat in a haze of doubt. The motivational videos, the fatherhood talks, they hit differently now. Every soundbite was rewatched with suspicion. As for Meek Mill, his defensive tirades only made things worse. The internet has a long memory and no sympathy for poor damage control. Every tweet was met with 10 more jokes, 10 more memes, 10 more receipts. The more he tried to reclaim his image, the deeper he seemed to fall. And then there were the survivors. The Cassies, the Dawns, who had lived through what the world was only now starting to believe. Their voices were finally echoing. People were listening, really listening. The fallout wasn't just about three names, it was about the ecosystem that protected them, about the institutions that turned away, and for the first time in a long time, the public wasn't just watching a scandal, they were demanding accountability, loud and clear. This isn't just a celebrity scandal, it's something bigger, darker. We're watching the very foundations of celebrity culture get shaken from the inside out. And the most chilling part? We still don't have all the facts. The alleged recordings haven't surfaced. No official statements have clarified their content. Authorities remain tight-lipped. And the people allegedly involved? Moving like nothing happened, attending events, posting on socials, acting like their names weren't just echoed through a courtroom under the weight of federal evidence. But the silence won't last forever. The pressure is mounting. Journalists are circling. Subpoenas are reportedly still flying. And the leaks? They haven't started yet, but they will. Because secrets like these don't stay hidden. Not when the entire world is watching. Not when survivors are speaking. Not when a system built on silence finally starts to crack. What's happening now isn't just about justice. It's about exposure. It's about how long the entertainment industry has operated like a kingdom, ruled by the untouchable, protected by money and myth. But this trial, this moment, it's pulling back the curtain, slowly, relentlessly. And when the truth comes out, and it will, the fallout could be historic. Will careers be ended? Possibly. Will names be cleared? Maybe. But either way, the world is different now. Audiences aren't as passive. Fans aren't as forgiving. People want truth. They want transparency. They want receipts. And they want consequences for those who've hidden behind fame for far too long. And Diddy? Will Smith? Meek Mill? Their legacies are hanging in the balance. Not because of one bad night or one bad tweet, but because of what might have been hidden for years. Decades even. Their fate might not be decided in court alone, it'll be decided by the people, the viewers, the ones who no longer trust the silence. The ones who will replay every frame, dissect every headline, and demand clarity no matter how long it takes. So what's next? That's the question echoing everywhere right now. Will the tapes be released? Will more people come forward? Will this unravel even further? All we know is this. The story isn't over. Not by a long shot. So if you've been following from the beginning, if you've been watching the clues, reading the headlines, replaying the clips, stay locked in. Because whatever's coming next, it could change everything. Like, share, and subscribe if you want the full truth when it breaks.